Hello, welcome to The Balancing Act, the interview series that takes a behind the scenes look at the world of business, exploring how entrepreneurs, executives, or team leaders have succeeded and what they learn through the process. I'm your host, Cary Shields. Today, we're joined by Julie Denton Price, partner, Chief Revenue Officer at BlueCotton. Julie, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah. If you would, why don't you start us off by just sharing a little bit about yourself, your history?
Yeah, well, I am living Bowling Green. I am a pastor's daughter, lifelong pastor's daughter, and wife and mom, and a collector of moments and memories. Have just crave adventure and to live life to the max. I just don't want to sit around and waste 1 second, and just do all the things that make all the great memories in life and all the great stories. So try to capture all those. Partner here at BlueCotton, I was actually a customer in college back in the day. And BlueCotton is a custom screen printing and embroidery company born and raised in Bowling Green. And so I was the president of a business organization at WKU. We needed t-shirts for an event. And when you look around, there wasn't social media so much back then, but there's just, we still had phone books back then, I think. But went to BlueCotton, walked in the door. I met Mike Coffey, who is now my partner. I met Angie Norod, who did my graphic design. She's the second employee of BlueCotton and is still here.
Hmm.
And the rest is somewhat history. After college, I went and worked for Aflac. I came back to BlueCotton and tried to sell Aflac policies to them unsuccessfully. And then later on, I went to work in major gift fundraising at WKU and came and tried to get donation from Mike and his family unsuccessfully. And then I worked in marketing and sales at the club at Old Stone and just kept running into Mike and his partners at the time. And they recruited me to come work at BlueCotton, which just never really saw that coming, but I was ready for a change in career at that point. You're probably thinking I'm terrible in sales since I could never get them to convert, but they were just part of my growth over time of really understanding the customer and,
Yeah,
which tree to bark up for sure.
that is awesome. So you went from customer to partner.
Yep, customer to employee to partner.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I've got to ask about that, and thank you for telling us, what Blue Cotton is and what they do. Is Blue Cotton different now than it was when you first went to them as a customer?
Absolutely. So when I first went to them as a customer, they weren't online yet.
Hmm.
And they had mostly just started their business selling t-shirts to sororities and fraternities on campus. And then in 2007, I believe, they went online with a site for like targeting Greek life. And then
Hmm.
in 2009, I believe they went online with an online designer, across the country for anyone, not just campus organizations, because lots of people need t-shirts.
Yes, they
And
did.
really just experience explosive growth at that time. The design studio was pretty revolutionary at the time. It was built in Flash, and just one of the first ones that people could go online and create their own garment, own design, and
Hmm.
check out, and then in a couple of weeks get their order. So I came on board with kind of in the big boom for them of growth.
Hmm.
And then I kind of went from a sales to more of an operations type role, which was interesting, but quickly worked my way back into a sales role. Just, I was still hired to be this operations person, but just I kept adding things to my plate of like, well, we could do this, or I could see the opportunities with
Okay.
the things that we had. So yeah, so we are e-com. We ship all over the country, all 50 states, Canada, and Puerto Rico. And there's just people every day who are placing orders for custom apparel. And really, they're just there to mark their moment. You know, we say that t-shirts mark the memories of our lives, and that's very evident by your t-shirt drawer. If we had just met today and you show me your t-shirt drawer, I could probably tell you a story about your life and the things that you hold very dear. So tell me it's not true that you have t-shirts that you don't wear anymore, but you just cannot bring yourself to get rid of.
It's totally true.
They have marked that moment for you. They hold that memory of what happened that day. It's not so much the t-shirt special, but it's just that tangible item that you can hold.
Yes,
So,
in every team experience that I've had, there was a T-shirt involved in it, and
yeah,
it was as the team continued to work, and would, the energy you would get from the team effort, and that took the T-shirt, we did it. Here's a T-shirt. As it vaporizes over time, as it naturally does, the T-shirt would bring it back.
right.
It is powerful.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It is. And so for me, I mentioned earlier that I'm a pastor's daughter, and the reason that that is significant is because my whole life, that wasn't my job, it was his, but it was all about connecting people.
Yes.
And you're just there for many special moments, and it's the whole bringing the community together. And we're kind of a sentimental family. We really hold on to like all these memories. And so for me, if I have to leave my family every day and go to work and be with this group of people more than my own family, I want it to mean something. I
Yeah.
want it to just to be special. I really applaud the people who can, like, I didn't go through college knowing like I want to be an accountant or I want to be a teacher, I want to be a doctor. Like that seems like I'm so envious of those people who just knew exactly what they wanted to do, because I was like, well, this is who I am, and like where does that fit? And
Yeah.
so I think it took me a while to figure out where I fit. um, you can bring something to every situation, but just like where can I just make the most impact and
Mhm.
help a lot of different people, and this type of business just right up my alley.
That is awesome. That is so well said too. I mean, yeah. Thank you for sharing all that. So that really fits in when, or gives more definition for me as I looked at the website, the BlueCotton website. It looks great, and the page where you can design,
Mhm.
that's really incredible. So I'd like to come back to that being one of the first that was out there that was available. I also perused your LinkedIn account, of course, just to try and be prepared to know something of worthwhile so I can ask you good questions. Um, in your LinkedIn page, you say that you have an entrepreneurial spirit,
Uh-huh.
and which I can see. I mean, for someone to go from customer to partner, that's very self-driven. That's, and that whole thing of I know what I am. I'm just looking for where I fit. It's very, to me. How would you define or describe the entrepreneurial spirit?
Yeah, I think that I very much believe we're all born with God-given talents. There's many ways that we can use them. Some of us get paid to use them, some of us do not. And I just think all the way growing up, I am competitive. And so when there was a raffle, when there were Girl Scout cookies to sell, when there was a book contest to read, I was going to win it. Like, I just wanted, like, I don't want to just participate. I want to win.
Hmm.
Um, and winning is a big thing for us around here. Like, we want everyone to win. It's a big part of our culture. Um, I, Here's the thing though. I didn't set out to be a business owner.
Hmm.
Somewhere in my career, I thought I may want to have a business. And that's after I tried Aflac, and it just like, I didn't believe in the product, so I couldn't sell it well.
Hmm.
I had a short stint in mortgage servicing, which like not for me. The fact that I had to like clock in and clock out like by the minute was just so terrible. I couldn't wait to get out of that situation. Um, and then I went to major gift fundraising, and I loved it. And I mentioned the meaningfulness. I love the meaningfulness of getting donations because it was going to change the trajectory of someone's life at
Hmm.
WKU. Maybe someone who couldn't come to school, they're going to have a scholarship now, or, I really believed in that. It was very interesting to me that these people made money and they would just give it away to people they didn't know. So I was sucked in by the meaning of it,
Mhm.
but the government agency, slow moving red tape
Mhm.
infuriated me. I was like, what are we doing around here? Like, let's go, like, let's move. So then I was just so in discontent. And then this position opened at the club at Old Stone. It's just it's similar to Valhalla in Louisville. And it's a local entrepreneur, had no experience in golf, but that's just a dream of his. And he went for it. And I was so like drawn to that. So I was
Mhm.
like, let's try it. And it was the most experience I've gotten over those 4 years of learning like about a business. I went into that thinking I would want to own a business. I left that job thinking I do not want to own a business because it was a startup and we would have like monthly business meetings. And I was my first time looking at financial statements and a lot of it's in red. And I'm like, is this normal? Like, is this? And like, well, it is. Like, that's the reality of a lot of business. A little Pollyanna, I just thought things were always in the black. So
Sure.
after seeing the struggle, and it was just, again, you're starting up, you're trying to figure out policy and how to work, how to do the different things, and just all the things that went into it. I left that thinking, like, there is no way I'm not interested. And I remember when I was interviewed at BlueCotton, they asked me about that. And I was like, well, I thought I wanted to own a business, but now I don't. And they all laugh because like every business owner feels that way. You're like, yeah, you're right. We don't want to own a business. Like, this is hard.
Mhm.
And so I came to work here and I did carry the entrepreneurial spirit. So one of those things is I was in customer service at the time, just really helping all the customers who were getting to our site and placing orders, helping my team service them
Mhm.
and just have a great customer experience. But then, we're in the South, so monogramming was like a big thing, and we didn't offer that online. We just, from a technical aspect, it just wasn't available. But we had all the capabilities to do it. So I helped start an Etsy store through BlueCotton that just was all about monogramming. Like,
Okay.
I grew that
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
$250,000 in sales in a year, So it's just like that
Nice.
really, they didn't hire me to do that, but I saw the opportunity and I was like, well, let's just try it. And so I was just very willing to try things. Now, some would argue I was trying it on someone else's dime. So that maybe that makes it a little easy. If it was my own money at the time, it would maybe have a different outcome, but I had the freedom to experiment and they gave me that room.
Mhm.
Um, but then over the time, I started getting that discontent again because I was like, where are we going? Like, what are we trying to do around here? Like, I needed something to like fight for, strive for.
Right. Right.
It was
Yeah.
really missing. And so I just started kind of like looking elsewhere. I tried to leave the company. I had multiple interviews. I never got another job, which, does a whole nother thing with you, with your head. And then eventually just something changed in me. I mean, I became a mother, and really I think after that, I was just like, I showed up differently to the job. And so for a long time, I was discontent with the
Mhm.
owners of the company at the time, but really I was looking for someone else to solve my problem, and I was the only one that could solve my problem. And so when I showed up differently, then I started being seen differently and noticed differently. And that's when I was already in the executive leadership, but that's when they started looking to me for, well, what do you think about this? Or what does Julie say? What's her opinion? I started just inserting myself into other parts of the business really to solve problems for my team. And
Mhm.
that's just when everything kind of changed. And so they gave me an opportunity to buy in at a very, very, very small percentage, but it might as well have been $1 million for me. Like, it was a big deal.
Mhm.
And we never disclosed like who had what percentage. So I just acted like I was an equal partner to everyone else.
Mhm. Yeah.
And anyone would tell you they thought, wow, it would be an equal partner. And then really that just led to getting more. So I knew pretty quickly that like the amount of effort and work I was putting into the company,
Mhm.
I wasn't going to be happy with the percentage I had. And so I was looking for more. I went to my partner and I was like, will you sell me a little bit more? And he was like, I'm not really interested, but go check with the other partner. And when
Oh.
I went to that
Okay.
partner, I was just looking for a little more. And he's like,
Mhm.
well, I'll sell you that, or I'll just sell out. And we had a conversation after that, but I don't remember what was said because all I could think was, how am I, like, I have to do this. I
Hmm.
have to make this happen. I don't have that money. How can I do it? And so we had a
Hmm.
conversation, but I couldn't tell you what was said because it was like that was the moment. I didn't even go in there asking for it, which is so crazy to me. I didn't ask for it, but that landed in my lap. And so I've always said, you don't, when opportunity presents itself, take it, even if you don't feel ready. So, like, we're waiting for the, if you're waiting for the perfect time, you're wasting time, and the opportunity is just going to go to the next person. So,
Hmm.
I didn't walk in there asking for that. I got more than I asked for. I did not have that money. I had no idea how to lock down this deal, but I was like, I've got to do this. And so I spent the next 5 months figuring it out.
Hmm.
And yeah, so we worked out a deal. I bought him out. And so now me and the founder of the company, who I was a customer, met in 2001, are now running and growing BlueCotton. So it's
Ah, well, congratulations. Oh,
you.
that's really super. And one of the questions I love to ask is how like an event or a period in time, changes or changed you. And so that period, like what's consistent in all you said was you love to have that target that you're pursuing. You have a drive in you, and the drive gets satisfied when there's a target. I think a lot of people could relate to that. And then the second thing was the target, the drive, has to be something that you can wrap your emotions or meaning around. I mean, you mentioned a little bit after becoming a mom, you show up differently, which is, I love that. I showed up different. And I think that happens with all parents, but I don't think that part of you that wanted to have passion for, the target changed. I think that's still part of you. That didn't change. I think just your ability to define the seat you were in as and seeing it as actually having purpose and passion
Yes,
and honoring the purpose and passion that was in that seat. I think that's what they saw in you as you realize, oh, the seat I'm in has
right,
purpose and passion. Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yes.
What would you say to someone who's like, they don't believe in the product? I've got this job, I don't believe in the product. How would you advise
Yeah,
them to find their way out of a product they don't believe in?
right. Well, it's what do you want most? Do you want comfort or to satisfy the thing within? Some people don't have the luxury at the moment to go searching for the thing they do believe in. There's
Hmm.
lots of different variables that we're subject to, family and finances and all that good thing. So obviously, first, like, I think you have to drill down to, like, why don't you believe in it? And so some things
Yes.
can be fixed with a
Hmm.
conversation, and some things are just non-negotiable. You're like, yeah, I'm just never going to get behind that. And I didn't know that when I took this job, but now I've had more self-realization. It's like no one's at fault. It's not a bad product. It's not a bad company. It's just not for you. So, yeah, I think I cannot stress enough how much networking is so imperative. I have just naturally networked my entire life, and I just have this. Well, I enjoy it, but I just have this way of staying in touch with people, even if
Okay.
just for a moment of, hey, like, you crossed my mind today. I just want to reach out. I hope things are going well. It's just like always having that connection. I don't feel like people that I've connected with over the years that they're ever gone. Not like, oh, well, yeah,
Hmm.
we were really close and hadn't talked to them in years. Like, that's just not going to happen with me. I always feel like I have to pick up the phone and
Hmm.
reconnect. And so that has served me so well over my career of, like, whether you need a job or whether you need a loan to buy out a business or just all those things. The networking is what has gotten me to that next level because people have connected with me over time. So I think the networking will help that person get out into the market and find that thing that really will make them believe in what they're doing.
Yeah. And, I think many people could, cynically say, t-shirts are t-shirts, right? I love how you immediately were with, if I didn't know you and you showed me, you brought in, your t-shirt drawer, I could tell a story about you, or I could tell something about you. So you very much put yourself on the client side. Like, why is there a client? You know, if BlueCotton was like, you know what, this is just t-shirts, this is silly.
Right.
Would people stop buying t-shirts? Not
They'll
at
start
all.
buying them from
Why?
us.
That's right. It's like you know, it's same like you know, in any product or service that's out there. If someone's buying it, they're buying it for purpose, and that's where the spirit is. I love that you had that turning point and spoke to that. I've wrote down the timestamp, so I hope I can find
Right.
it and put that out there because to many people, it's okay. Like you said, first and foremost, if you feel like you don't believe in the product, do a little bit of self research, self reviewing to find out. Because if someone's buying a product, they're buying it for a purpose. They want to buy the product. I mean, you might, maybe not with insurance, but I think we buy insurance for, there is something we want there. And mostly it's the comfort of knowing we're covered.
Right.
Yeah. So it has good value. It has good purpose, and people could absolutely find the spirit behind it. And knowing how their job gets to the end user is what's key.
Right.
Yeah, I love that. So you're also a mom, right? And so you're you know, you worked your way into being a business owner. You have a passion for it, added passion because you're an owner. So now you're creating not only happy customers, but you're creating life for employees. They can come in, feel passionate about their job, feel secure in their job. They can go make homes, right? They can get married, buy
Exactly.
cars.
You're exactly right. So we've when I was very attracted to BlueCotton because they had a great culture when I came here.
Nice.
We had about 45 employees.
Okay.
Well, in 2016, we took on a big contract and we had to grow from about 50 to 100 employees. Well, to get that extra 50, we hired about 125. You know,
Right.
it was a mess. During that, I wasn't a partner yet, but during that time, it was just a big time of growth and change, and we lost our culture.
Mhm.
It was just, it was a
Oh.
very stressful time
Mhm.
to the partners. I know my partner used to say, every time I walk in this building, I'm spending $10,000 every day, $10,000. So yeah, it's a lot of stress. I mean, culture's the last thing. Like they're freaking out, just trying to keep the thing going,
Mhm.
uh, and it really drug us down. And again, this is about the time I'm looking to leave. So I'm like, what are we doing? This is not fun anymore. Like there's no
Yeah.
vision. And so we also got to 20. So I bought in 19, July of 19. In 2020, we're in a pandemic where our business is focused around people getting together in person. And you know, so we're trying to sell t-shirts, group t-shirts, and nobody's getting together. So we had to pivot. I mean, we worked our tails off to keep this business open. My partner was so strong in that time saying we will not close our doors. Like we're not closing our doors. We are essential. We're essential to our people and our families.
Mhm.
And honestly, I think that's the thing that saved us because the minute people got to go home, it just changed their perspective. Our people at first didn't want to, they didn't really understand why we were still working, but then it became they're so grateful for it because
Mhm.
they had purpose. And so we did Team Kentucky shirts. And that really came from the governor at the time, talking about Team Kentucky, but we sold a ton of those. We gave the proceeds to United Way here for food banks because that was the big thing. But
Oh,
it gave our
yeah.
people purpose to come into work. It's like, hey, it's very easy to like be down and like, what are we gonna do? But like, let's just do for others. Um, and then it just got to the point where I was like, you know what? I just need something more here. Making money means nothing to our team.
Yeah.
I just have learned like we are selfish and we just want to know what's in it for us. Like the employee wants to know what's in it for them, the customer wants to know what's in it for them. As business owners, we can sit here and talk all day long, but until we internalize it for the customer and the employee, we have two customers. The person buying the product and the person making the product is, as a business owner, my customer. And
Mhm.
so I was just like, I always remember being frustrated as an employee, and I would get in my head and be like, well, if I'm ever in that position, I'm never doing that. Like that was of all my experiences, not just BlueCotton, but I'm like, I'm never doing that. I'm never going to forget how it feels when this happens. Like, I'm always going to keep them informed, just all the things that frustrate me. I'm never going to make those mistakes. I'm sure I have, but I've always wanted to keep very close and like how it feels to be an employee. And what are the things that frustrate me? I think you get frustrated when you don't know what we're reaching for. I
Mm-hmm.
did. You get frustrated when there's not, like, you don't feel appreciated, you don't feel included, all those different things. Like, people want to be a part of something.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, you know what, I've known to make very bold statements, and I like believe them 100%. And so I usually say, I'll believe it enough until all of y'all believe it. And so I would stand in front of our team and I'll be like, listen, BlueCotton is going to be the place where you cannot get a job because no one ever wants to leave, because we do meaningful work and it's a great environment, and we will change the trajectory of the lives of people who work here. And my partner's looking at me like, what are you doing? But I believe that. Like, what are we doing if that's not, what are we doing around here if that's not our goal? I mean, there's
Right.
120 people live here. I live here. 120 people that work here and live in Bowling Green.
Mm-hmm.
And they probably took this job because they're like, well, I'll take this job for now until, and I'm like, let's nix the until. Let's give them a reason to be here, a reason to grow,
Grow here.
a
Yeah.
thing, something to believe in. And just like, I would stand in front of the team and I call it the dead eye look. I would just look into these dead eyes like they do not believe what I'm saying. And I would be like, yeah. And then I would come back to my office and I'd be like, oh my gosh, like, do I really believe this? Because I'm pushing it. And I do believe it. And in 2 years, we have made the most incredible progress. Still tons to go, but the employee engagement, our turnover rate is much lower. We still have turnover, but it's much lower.
Yeah. Good
It's
job.
just a great place to be. And I know that the growth that we're pursuing is going to change the lives of people around here. Like, they're going to send their kids to college or whatever
Yes.
that looks like for them. They're going to buy houses. They're going to give back to their community. So it's just, making money is not enough for me. And it's great. I mean, it's necessary to continue. But like, I want the bigger picture of it, and to be able to see the things that our team is accomplishing on their own is, or for themselves, is like so rewarding.
That is wonderful. Well said. Great job. Great job. The would you say that team success that you've had, that you have going right now, is it because of core values? Does BlueCotton have, core values that is shared through the team?
I'll tell you what it is. We do have core values, and they have always been spoken of, practice. I'll say even before I became a partner, the partners like use core values as a guiding point of like making decisions and stuff. So that's always been there, and that's very helpful. I would say the change that we have in the last couple of years is that we became very clear about what we're doing. I always say clarity is freedom, because the freedom that we have gotten from being clear on what we need to do, well, first of all, who we're going to be, and then what we're going to do to be those people, that company, has just been so freeing. And it gives you a lot of gumption to go out and chase after those big dreams. My partner and I laugh. If he was sitting right here, I would say this, but I have like some really big dreams. And granted, he started this company. He's had a very different entrepreneurial experience than I've had. I mean, there's been tough times, but he did a lot of the work before I got here,
Mm-hmm.
And so his perspective is a little bit different. So when I throw out these crazy revenue goals, which they're not crazy, they're very achievable, but it's just been fun to try to bring all of us to the same level. So getting clear about, this is who we are,
Mm-hmm.
this is how we're going to get there, and here's what we're going to do. And then you just take that next big step, because when you're clear about your direction, then you can find those like most important things, or those next most important things to tackle. But I think with our people knowing that we put our money where our mouth is, that doesn't happen overnight. I don't stand out there and say, we're going to be the best place. And then everybody gets on board. Like it's
Mhm.
taken 2 years to get momentum.
Yeah.
But what happens with momentum when it gets going, it's rapidly
Mhm.
speeds up. So I think
It
we're,
exponentiates. Yeah.
yes, I've been saying that Blue Cotton is going to take a big leap in the leap year. So we're prime for for disruption in the best way possible, even if it doesn't necessarily correlate to our revenue goals. Although I think that we'll hit those, I think that there's some bigger things happening here.
Wonderful. That is awesome, Julie. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a lot of great insight and great experience. I mean, yeah, you're going to make a lot of great opportunities, great lives. I mean, your employees are they will it will what you say is happening. It will happen if you
Yeah.
stick to it. It totally will. It
Yeah.
absolutely will. I have no doubt. Um, so as a final question, let me ask: if someone wants to, connect with you, your partners, get, in strategic alliance, or they want to work for you, whatever it is, what's your preference for them to try and reach out and find you?
Yeah, a great way to connect is through my LinkedIn, Julie Denton. I'm pretty active on there. You can also go to bluecotton.com. We'd love for you to visit our site. I actually love feedback. We're in the middle of a rebrand and a new website rollout. So any feedback, I'd love to have it. But we'd love to help you too. If you're wanting to mark your moment or, create some memories or have that thing that makes it last, then we would love to help you. Yeah, would love to connect with anyone.
Wonderful. Great job. Okay, well, to the listeners and viewers, this wraps up another episode of The Balancing Act. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you found it worthwhile. Julie has clearly shared a lot of good points. So study them up. Go check out their website. Check out her LinkedIn page, and network, make more friends. So
Right.
I'm the host, Cary Shields. I thank you, and until next time, remain in balance.